In the weeks following the spawn, crappie group up and seek deeper cover. Throughout most northern inland lakes, that summertime retreat is most often weed beds adjacent to deep open water. Several articles have been written on the subject, including this one by Dan Johnson in the current issue of InFisherman magazine, which touches on the very same pattern I'm exploring today: cabbage patch crappies. Hi guys, I'm Kim Stricker, and thank you for your interest in my hook and look videos. So pinch your nose and hold your breath, and we'll dive into the subject in greater detail. Crappie prefer healthy weed growth. A few weeks prior, this lake had been chemically treated to curb the growth of non-native aquatic vegetation. With that said, the beds of broadleaf cabbage, which is native here, were not directly targeted, yet you can still see it showing signs of being partially burnt from the treatment. Nevertheless, the crappie flock to it because it's the tallest, thickest, healthiest cover available. Mixed within the cabbage patch is another native flora, Vallisneria, commonly referred to as eelgrass. I not only observed the crappie hovering over it, but often settled inside the foliage as well. Plankton tends to hold in the vegetation, which attracts a variety of bait fish the crappie feed on: newly hatched fry, young of the year bluegill, as well as various minnows. I want to point out that by no means did every cabbage patch in this lake hold crappie. This productive one was relatively close to where the crappie spawned in the spring and was an obvious place for me to start looking. When I did locate them, they were grouped up in a small area along the large cabbage bed, around a finger of grass nearest the steepest drop. Basically, textbook stuff. As I carefully studied their positioning and movement underwater, it appeared to me that the majority of the crappie were currently hanging on the outside of the cabbage, suspended over the eelgrass, and there were some sizable crappie out and about as well. However, the biggest slab I came across was actually resting on the bottom at the base of deeper cabbage where there was no eelgrass present. You can tell this is an old fish, worn and torn, but good breeding stock, the kind I recommend you release if caught. And speaking of catching, my go-to lure for crappie when they're suspended over the grass is a Johnson beetle spin, which is a time-tested classic. Even if they're tucked down in the grass, they'll come up for it. There we go. There we go. Ooh, that's a nice crappie. Get up here. Yeah, that's a real nice crappie. Yes, sir. That's more like it. Yeah. Cabbage patch crappie. Here's another thing about the beetle spin. Not only will it catch crappie, but it'll catch all types of fish, and it's a great bait for kids to cast. Furthermore, bass also hang around the cabbage, so don't be surprised if you hook into one of those as well. Yeah. That ain't bad. As I said, them beetle spins will catch about everything. Making a long cast. Let it go down a little bit and just slow roll it over the grass. Reel it, and then I stop it. Let it fall in the holes a little bit. Don't want to get down there too far because it will get snagged in that cabbage. I'm using 20-pound Seagar Smackdown braid as a main line with the 8-pound gold label fluorocarbon leader. Now you may think that's a bit of an overkill for crappie fishing, but the strength and minimal stretch properties of this combo makes it so much easier to rip free if you do hang up in the cabbage as compared to mono. Plus, it's extremely sensitive, so you can feel even the most subtle crappie strikes. A little better one, yeah. That's a decent fish right there. Decent crappie. Like most freshwater fish, crappie are a timid sort. Underwater, I would have to hold my breath to approach them to capture close-ups. The second I'd exhale, they'd rapidly dart away from the sudden sound and commotion my bubbles would make. They wouldn't disappear, they'd just move off to a more safe and secure distance. Now's a good time to point out that crappie schools can also be located suspended over the main lake basin at this time as well, but that is for another video. Jacques Cousteau once said, "The best way to observe a fish is to become a fish." And I hope you're appreciating my observations as much as I am documenting them. Don't forget, you can find product links listed below my video descriptions, and I would appreciate it if you would initiate your tackle warehouse purchases from one of my links. Thanks for watching.